Hello and good morning to everybody out in social media world. How are you today? So this is unusual, me dropping in live on my personal page, but you're going to have to start getting used to it because I'm going to be coming on here a lot more. And this idea just really came to me more recently because over lockdown, so in the year of 2020 and 2021, I was doing a lot of mindful moments. We had mindful moments with Morts in my Heal Yourself Happy Hub, which was my private community for my last business. And I also did a lot of mindfulness and meditations for corporations, businesses, helping people through lockdown. I also did, where else did I do meditations? A lot for my private clients and our programs, and it was all incredibly well received and people needed it. And I suddenly felt the feeling that people are needing it again. I don't know why, I've just got this feeling that people need it again. And in August last year, I launched my new business, for those of you who don't know, the Limitless CEO. And I started doing they were called Monday Mind Hacks. I started doing those in our private community. And once again, they were really, really well received. But the Limitless CEO stands for limitlessness, being unleashed, no rules, nothing, no holds bars. And I felt like I was limiting these mindful moments for people privately. So took a deep breath and I've decided to come out here on my personal page. So if you're watching, do say hello. I can see a few of you watching. Hi, Kate. Hi, Claire. Thank you for being here. So I'm launching, it hasn't got a name yet, but I'm going to be jumping in probably on Mondays because I've just always done, I love a little bit of a, what's the word? I don't even know, when it all sounds the same. Mindful Moments with Morts or Monday Mind Hacks with Morts, I'm not quite sure, but I'm going to be jumping in to share some of these ideas with my mindfulness kind of ideas on, just to help you. You can take what you want, just sharing some of my experiences and how I've helped myself, how I've healed myself through PTSD, depression, grief, loss, sadness, and some of them might help you. So I'm coming in to share what I do. So I probably should just explain a little bit about the Limitless CEO as well. So for those of you who don't know, who haven't seen my new business, the Limitless CEO is my new brand, which I set up in business with my gorgeous partner, Emma Forrester. And she was my coach all the way through lockdown, helping me heal the nation, I suppose, with Heal Yourself Happy. So she helped me with my business strategy. And we had the most incredible time growing my business and helping more and more people grow my audience. So we decided, we love doing that so much, we decided to jump into bed, I suppose, together and start a business helping more and more women do the same. So the Limitless CEO is all about redefining what it means to be a CEO. So rather than a chief executive officer, something that we no longer desire to be, we decided that we would redefine what a CEO means, and it means to us is being a consciously evolving owner. So we are now in business to help as many independent women as we can build businesses that they are wildly in love with to support a life that they really love as well, which is something that we've been doing and we're loving, and we love sharing all our ideas with everybody else. So let's get to the meat of it. I decided this week was a really hot topic, was all around guilt. And a big one for me was the mum guilt. But what I want to talk about really is guilt is a feeling that we all feel. And it's just another emotion. And on the sliding scale of emotions, guilt is one of the heavy ones. I don't like to think of emotions as good or bad because they're just all human emotions. So I like to feel that guilt is one of the heavier ones. It feels a bit like it weighs us down. It's something can make us feel really slow because it's constantly on our mind. It's taking up a lot of our brain space. And guilt is just uncomfortable, isn't it? It's just really, really uncomfortable. We can feel it in so many different ways. I'm going to be talking about mum guilt, but everything that I'm going to share today is applicable, and the tips and the tools that I've used to help alleviate guilt, you can apply to anything. So the guilt that I had last night for eating a whole packet of chocolate digestives, we're going to let that one go. The guilt that I feel that I was meant to be doing these Monday Mind Hacks yesterday, but actually made a decision not to feel guilty about it because I'm doing them on Tuesday, and I'll explain a little bit how I came to be doing that because I was having so much fun with my boys yesterday. We were in a really fun play park for them to run around and we were having too much fun. I thought, you know what, I'll just do that tomorrow. There's the guilt that we can feel for just lying in bed and having that extra half an hour in bed when I can hear the whole family like racing around, or James, with the boys getting them breakfast. Or there's the guilt that I feel when I really want to go to bed early and everybody else is still awake. There's guilt in so many different levels. There's guilt that I feel for not having spoken to my dad, or haven't returned his call, or haven't returned my best friend's call, or not written that letter that I was meant to write. And there's just we can carry so much guilt, and it just gets heavier and heavier and heavier and heavier. So how can we alleviate that so we can feel free, so that we can feel limitless, so that we can move forward with the remainder of our plans? Gosh, there's some lovely sun here, isn't there? Look at that. Oh, the sun's just come out for the first time in Yorkshire for the last 3 days. I think it's just been raining non-stop. Can you see? I might have to just move so you can see me a bit better. Maybe I should move around a bit, and then I'm not squinting. That's a bit better, isn't it? Hang on, I should just turn around. There we go. Oh, that's better. So, what did I want to say? I think the real focus of my point today is the mum guilt, because James is laughing at me. He's looking through the window. The mum guilt was such a big thing for me. For those of you who don't know my background, I worked in IT consultancy for many, many years, at least 1.5 decades. And now I'm just going to show you, because he's now standing at the window being an absolute idiot. He wants me to go and help him write something he's got to speak out later. So I'm going to have to keep it brief, aren't I? 5 minutes. And now he's made me lose my complete train of thought. And I imagine a small child is going to come in a minute and drop me off. So what was it? Let me just bring myself back. So, right, okay. So the mum guilt. The mum guilt is real. I worked in IT consultancy for 15 years. I worked in a consultant house, and then I also worked in industry. And when I was working, I had 2 small boys, and the mum guilt was just immense. When I was at work, I felt like I should be with my boys. When I was with my boys, I felt like I was letting my team down, that I should have been working. There's always so much to do, isn't there? There's always so much to do. And it was crippling to one point where I was getting very, very ill all the time. I just on this 3-month cycle of illness, chest infections, illness all the time, and I would have to go to bed because I was just running on empty all the time. This guilt was sapping me of all of this energy, to the point where one day I came home and I was racing back down the motorway, picked the boys up, who were probably about 3 and 5, picked them up from nursery, got them home, gave them their milk, gave them a bath, started cooking supper. And at the time I was working with a global team, and I had to get back on a call at about 8 o'clock. So James walked in through the door, and just as he walked in, supper was spilling over on the Argo, and all the pans and everything was boiling over. Willie came downstairs and said, "I've done a poo in my nappy," and the dog was sick on the floor. And James was like, "This is just too much." And I was like, "This is just too much." And as I disappeared off and went and took my call with America. And when I came back, we just had this conversation. He said, "I think it's time we re-looked at the way our family life is running." And that's when I left corporate life and I started my entrepreneurial journey. And what I found in my entrepreneurial journey was, one of the things I wanted to do was make sure that I could spend more time with my children, spend more time with my boys. But I also had this passion that I love to have a challenge, and I love to work, and I love to feel fulfilled in my work. So there was still this ongoing battle of, there's only me now. I don't have a team of people building websites for me in industry. There's just me running a business. So it felt like my to-do list was never ending. So I came back to this whole dilemma of, really wanting to contribute to the family finances and look after the children. But if I didn't work all the time, then I wasn't contributing financially. So there was the guilt towards James, there was guilt towards kids. And I'm sure I'm speaking to the masses when everybody understands that whole kind of, I should be doing one thing when really I'm doing this, or when I'm doing that, I should be doing the other. And it's just constant drain on your energy and on your mind. So this is all to do with your mind. So what can we do about it? How can we alleviate this worry bead, this kind of like, for me, it's kind of like a grey noise in my mind that's constantly there. So I'm not able to use my full brain power. So I was sat in the car yesterday thinking about what I wanted to say today, and think about the key things that have really helped me alleviate my feelings of mum guilt. Now, I'm not going to say I've got it 100% nailed the whole time, but there have been certain things that have really helped me. And yesterday was one of them, when I was meant to be, or I'd said to my community that I was coming in to do Monday Mind Hacks. But I'd also said to the boys that every day this week while they're on half term, I'm going to be spending the afternoons with them. So there was this commitment clash that I had going on, and I felt guilty either way. So how did I work my way through that without feeling any guilt at all, or very minimal guilt? Or how was I able to alleviate that heavy feeling of guilt really quite quickly? So I've written 6 ideas, the 6 ideas that came down to me, how I work myself through removal of this feeling of mum guilt. But as I said at the beginning, all of these steps, I believe you can use in any type of guilt for whatever it is that you're doing. So the first thing that I decided yesterday was, I no longer want to feel like this. So the first step is this decision, this choice to make that I no longer want to feel guilty. Number one, I no longer want to feel this way. And the way that I can help myself move through that decision is to say, well, how do I want to feel instead? So rather than feeling guilty, what's on the opposite side of the spectrum? What do I want to feel instead of guilt? So yesterday it was, well, I want to feel present with my boys. And I also want to be able to deliver a really great session where I'm really present when I'm delivering it. Husband at the window, granted. Now feeling guilty about that, anyway, never mind. So make the decision. I no longer wish to feel this way. I no longer wish to feel guilty. How do I wish to feel instead? I wish to feel present. I don't want to be multitasking. I don't want to be thinking of multiple things at once. I think it was Jeremy Clarkson. We watch a lot of stuff with cars in our house. We've got a lot of petrol heads. So Jeremy Clarkson always uses the phrase around multitasking, and I think he uses rather more colourful language than I'm about to use. But he says multitasking is one surefire way to mess everything up. So multitasking, I've recognised, is that we want to really focus on doing one thing at a time. So if I'm with my boys, I'm with my boys. If I'm with you, I'm with you. If I'm with James, I'm with James. If I'm with my friends, I'm with my friends. And yesterday I was with my boys, but I was also with my friends. And I wanted to be there and be sociable and present with them rather than thinking about everything else that I had to do as well. So number one, make a decision that I no longer want to feel this way. So how do I want to feel instead? And choose that feeling and work out how you can get behind that feeling too. The second thing that I found is really, really helpful when it comes to this whole mum guilt and working out when I'm going to be with the boys and when I'm going to walk the dogs and when I'm going to ring my dad and when I'm going to do my work and when I'm going to speak to Em, all of these things has helped me, but also been something I've been resistant to, is really scheduling it in. Now, Em, my business partner, for those who don't know. She's a line 1 in human design, so she loves everything mapped out and planned. I'm not like that at all. I'm a bit more free-flowing. I'm definitely not a Gina Ford mum. I was definitely more of a Tracy Hogg baby whisperer type mum. So rather than on the hour feeds or whatever Gina Ford told you to do, I was very much, yes, I like a routine, but I don't want to be time bound by it. But one thing I know that has hugely helped me in terms of the mum guilt and the multitasking into single tasking is really focusing on hour slots and scheduling things in, because I find that if something's scheduled, then it's going to happen. So this week, afternoons are scheduled in. Our VA knows, Em knows this week, the afternoons are with my boys for whatever they want to do. So I schedule it in, plan it in. Afternoons off. Don't know what we're going to be doing, but we're having the afternoons to be with my boys. So number 2 is all about scheduling it. I find if it's scheduled, then it's clear in my mind. I know it's going to happen then. A bit like the ironing. It's going to happen on Saturday. Maybe. Number 3 is then owning this decision. Owning this decision that even though we've got so many exciting plans happening in the Limitless CEO and my list of things to do is endless, I'm owning this decision that this week in the afternoons, I'm spending it with my boys. And I'll own that decision. And when you own your decision, you can find that the guilt goes. You own the decision. So schedule it and then own it. Own your choice. And that's one of the limitless principles that we've made very, very clear, is this ownership of your decisions. Take radical responsibility for your choices and your decisions. Own it. And when you stake in the ground, own it, you can often find that the guilt goes, because I've made that very, very clear. Be very, very transparent about it. I'm taking the afternoons off to be with my boys. I'm open about it. Got it? So, yes, there we go. So yesterday, that was it. Yesterday, I made the decision that rather than coming in and doing Monday Mind Hacks at 6 o'clock, because my boys were having so much fun in this Ninja Warrior place, and I was having such a lovely time with my girlfriends, that I decided to own the decision to delay Monday Mind Hacks. Guilt gone. I made the decision, I owned it, rescheduled it, owned it. No guilt. Number 4, forgive it. Forgive yourself for feeling guilty. Forgive yourself for making a choice. Forgive yourself for anything. Show yourself compassion. We cannot do everything all the time, every time. And even when we say we're going to do something, sometimes something happens. So forgive yourself. Forgive yourself the feeling, and forgive yourself any choices that you may make in error. Forgive yourself. Always forgive yourself. Always show compassion. One of the key principles of mindfulness is always showing yourself compassion and non-judgment. because all you're going to be doing is compounding emotions then, burying more and more emotion on top of emotion on top of emotion. I feel guilty. Now I feel guilty for feeling guilty. Now I feel bad for feeling guilty. Now I feel angry at myself because I've let myself down. All of these feelings layering on top of each other are no good for your stress levels, no good for your health, no good for your mind, no good for your emotion, all of it. Just forgive yourself. It's okay. Move on. You made the choice. Move on. Number five, when we get it wrong, when we make the wrong choice, we've forgiven ourselves, come with a clear head and just say, okay, what can I learn from that? What can I learn from that? I learned yesterday that I was trying to do too much. And I probably should have declared that I wasn't going to be doing anything in the afternoons, and I wasn't going to be doing Monday Mind Hacks, and I wasn't going to be doing anything. I was going to take the whole week off if I wanted to be with my boys, own the decision, declare it. So what did I learn? Reflect back. I didn't get it quite right, but it's okay. I was fully transparent, and I'm here now helping people in the way that I know how to help people and love helping people. So forgive yourself and then learn from it. This is where the wisdom comes in. You have to have the forgiveness piece to have the clarity of thought, rather than guilt tripping yourself. And then when you've got the clarity of thought and the clarity of mind, then you can come in and you can look for the lessons. What can I learn here? What could I do differently next time? When I'm faced with this situation, how would I do differently? What is the result that I would desire? And if that's the result that I would desire, what could I have done differently in this case? Therein lies the wisdom. And actually consciously looking at this, you know you're going to be better next time. So my 6th tip for dropping the guilt is share it. When you're feeling guilty, when you're feeling low, share how you're feeling with someone. Whether that's someone you love, whether it's a partner, whether it's a friend, whether it's with your journal, whether it's with your coach, your mentor, your therapist, share it and ask for help. Sometimes we can't get out of ourselves, of our own hole, but somebody who is objective can come in and really help you. And I've often asked for help when it comes to complete mind. I can't use the word there. I feel a bit bad using a really bad swear word now, but when you've got a real mind fuddle, let's say, and you can't quite see the wood for the trees, then ask for help to get out of it. It's like, I often describe it as having almost like this ball of wool that's really messed up in your head. And when you speak to somebody, sometimes they're the ones that can untangle it because you can't, because you're feeling too emotional, and somebody can help. So there we go. Monday Mindful Moments with Morts, or Monday Mind Hacks, haven't decided what I'm going to call them, on a Tuesday today, talking all about how you can alleviate guilt, particularly when it comes to mum guilt this week, for those of you who are on half term, either this week or next week, and you've got your kids at home and you're working, whether that be in business or whether that be for yourself. So number 1, decide you no longer want to feel like this, and how do you want to feel instead? Number 2, make your scheduling be your best friend. Schedule it. Schedule your decisions. Own your decisions. Own your decisions. Make peace with your decisions. Number 4, forgive any mistakes that you might make. Forgive the guilt. Forgive yourself. Show compassion for yourself. Show no judgment to yourself. Number 5, learn from your mistakes. And number 6, share it. When you're feeling that way, share it and ask for help. And hopefully one of these or all of these tips collectively will help you alleviate the heaviness that comes with feeling guilt for whatever reason, whether it's the mum guilt, for eating the chocolate biscuits, for not ringing your dad, for not writing the letter, for not showing up, for making a decision. All of these things can help contribute to alleviating that sense of guilt. So there we go. I hope that's really helped. If you've enjoyed today, please do leave me a heart or a wave or something below to say that that's really helped you. Or if you go away and you use one of those techniques and it really helps, please do let me know as well. And I will be back next week and coming to share some more of these mindful moments with Mort, or Monday Mind Hacks, depending on whatever I decide to call them. But thank you for joining me. Lots of love.